Hey guys, Megaton Menace here, back with another video. So today I just wanted to have a discussion about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And in this video, I just want to talk about, what I liked, what I didn't like, etc. And this is an unscripted video, but also I've been, it's been on my mind for the last week since I saw it. And full spoilers and, all that shit. So, this movie is one of those movies where there's kind of a lot of things that are in the category of... Overall, I did like the movie, and I do think that the pros outweigh the cons. However, it is also true that most of the movie's pros have a con attached to them, and I think that that's why people in general have been so conflicted and not agreeing about the movie. Like, here's a great example of what I mean. Going into the film, I wanted Wanda Maximoff to be the main villain, so I'm glad that she was. However, I also wanted it to be the type of thing where she realized the error of her ways and went through a redemption arc. But going through the redemption arc for what she did in Multiverse of Madness would be like a big multi-movie thing, and that therefore she wouldn't be fully reformed until the next Thanos-level threat, which is probably going to be the Celestials. Like, that's what I was hoping for. So it's one of those things where it's like, the fact that she was the villain, good. But the fact that she died, not good. Also, in addition to that, Elizabeth Olsen, Wanda Maximoff in the MCU, even with her dead, might not be over because of the fact that they introduced 838 Wanda. And that's cool, but it's also true that 838 Wanda and 616 Wanda are technically two different characters. And therefore, even if they, stick that Wanda into the core timeline, that'll be cool, but it's technically not the Wanda that we've been following for the last 7 years since Age of Ultron in 2015. So, yeah. And then another thing is that it's cool that we got introduced to the Illuminati and to Mr. Fantastic, but it sucks that essentially their role in the movie is they show up, they say, we can take Wanda, and then they're immediately proven wrong and they all die. And I do feel like that, and I feel like that Mr. Fantastic, of all the ones that die, is the most egregious. Because I feel like that, because it's like Captain Carter is the same power set as Captain America, so her getting killed by Wanda makes sense. And Marvel has really been trying to push the angle of, no one's stronger than Captain Marvel, so having Captain Marvel get killed makes sense. But with Mr. Fantastic, it's the type of thing where, the Fantastic Four are cool, but so many people think that they're lame because the 3 movies that they've had over the last 20 years all sucked. And therefore, having Mr. Fantastic immediately die when he's introduced in Multiverse of Madness is a little bit insulting to comic fans that have been eagerly awaiting his introduction. And also the problem, it's not going to fix the problem of people thinking that the Fantastic Four and Mr. Fantastic are all worthless feeders. And then there's also things that are great, that are conflicting too. Baron Mordo was cool in this movie, and I like the dynamic that they had between him and Strange. However, the only Baron Mordo that's in this movie is the 838 Illuminati Baron Mordo. In other words, the Baron Mordo that became a villain at the end of Doctor Strange 1 in 2016, that was like, no more sorcerers. Like, that Baron Mordo isn't in that movie. So the fact that we got introduced to a new Baron Mordo when the one that was set up 6 years ago in the first Doctor Strange movie hasn't even gotten closure or even a continuation since that movie feels weird. Also, something else is that from what I've heard, a lot of people are frustrated. Like, they feel that Wanda's motivation for becoming a villain is a little weak, and that's something that I strongly disagree with. And just to be clear, if the situation was literally something like, I love my kids, and I lost them, and I'm sad that I lost them, so now I'm going to become a villain, that would be kind of insulting, because that would imply that, like, because in real life there are many, many people that have, lost their families and been heartbroken by it, but, haven't gone crazy because of it. But the reason why it works for me is because that's not what happened with Wanda. Because what happened with Wanda was literally, over the course of about 4 years. Let me think. Over the course of 3 years, because Age of Ultron is 2015, and then Infinity War Endgame is 18, but then the 5-year time skip after the snap puts it to 23, but Wanda doesn't exist during that time skip. So, over the course of 8 years, but for 5 of those years, Wanda didn't exist. Her brother died. Her home country literally blows up. The person she loves dies, and then she has kids and they get erased from existence. And I feel like that is enough, that her losing her mind after all of that makes sense. Also, in addition to that, technically, that didn't make her lose her mind. That made her pursue a spell book that was forbidden, and then that forbidden spell book is what made her lose her mind. So I really feel like that Wanda's motivations are logical, and that they make sense, and that I don't think it's half-baked or nonsensical or anything like that. Also, in addition to that, I also feel that when it comes to why people are disappointed, I think it's also largely because of like expectation versus reality. Because really, in this movie, it's 616 and it's 838, and those are the only universes we see. And I feel like that a lot of people were expecting, well, like a very, very large quantity of multiverses. Like, I kind of feel like that people were expecting, like, an Illuminati universe to be, probably like 616 would be one universe, and then the Illuminati would be a second universe, and then Xavier would be a third universe, and things like that. And also, in addition to that, there's also a lot of rumors that were not true. Like, everyone thought that we were going to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man, but we didn't. And sure, maybe some people just thought that he was going to be like part of the Illuminati, but also I know for a fact that there definitely were people that were thinking that would be. And it's one of those things where, like, going into a movie expecting 10 multiverses and then getting 2 doesn't it's different than when you expected, but that doesn't mean that it was bad. However, now there's also one thing that is also really weird, because at the end of the movie, well, near the end, when Doctor Strange fights Doctor Strange, and I'm referring to 616 Doctor Strange fighting, like, the evil Doctor Strange that dresses in all black, and, like, the music note battle, right? From the trailers, I really thought that that was going to be the Doctor Strange from What If, but it's not. And there are several things that prove this. One is that in What If, when Doctor Strange gets hurt and his hands are damaged, Christine is in the car, and instead of his hands getting hurt, she dies. Meaning that when it comes to the divergence point between 616 Strange and What If Strange, the divergence point is the car accident with his hands. However, the evil Doctor Strange says that he attended Christine's wedding, just like 616 Doctor Strange, but obviously that's not something that happened for the What If Doctor Strange, because he unintentionally destroyed his universe trying to revive her long before her wedding. And then also, at the end of What If, that Doctor Strange is tasked with guarding a little pocket dimension that has Ultron Infinite and Killmonger fighting each other in a never-ending infinite time loop. And that is not referenced or mentioned or implied at all at any point during the scene. Like the fact, obviously, there's an infinite number of universes, so obviously, yeah, you can have an evil Doctor Strange that's not the one from What If, but it still is a little weird that he looks just like him but isn't him. Oh, and two other things that'll both be quick. The fact that zombie Doctor Strange is a dead Doctor Strange that's possessed and controlled by 616 Strange, I really like, because I was worried that they were going to try to actually tie Marvel Zombies into the plot somehow, and that I feel like that would have been too much. Partially just because, personally, I'm not much of a fan of Marvel Zombies, but also Marvel Zombies is big enough that I feel like that if you want to tell a Marvel Zombies story in the MCU, I feel like that for it to be done in a fleshed out way that's good, it would need like a full movie dedicated to it, or maybe like an hour-long segment of a movie, something like that. So I'm glad that the zombie Doctor Strange was not literally Marvel Zombies Multiverse. And then something else that I thought about that's interesting is that in the Captain Carter episode of What If, we basically only saw, based on my memory anyway, I'm pretty sure that we only see her and Steve being Iron Man, in the 40s in World War II, and, they defeat Hydra in the 40s, and then the episode ends. That's how I remember it. Meaning, it's totally possible that Universe 838, where Captain Carter is one of the members of the Illuminati, is the same universe as What If Episode 1. And that the ultimate fate of Captain Carter in What If Episode 1 is getting killed by a rampaging 616 Wanda. But it's also totally possible that that's not the case, and that just we've seen two different Captain Carters from two different multiverse numbers. It's definitely possible that the Captain Carter in 838 is not the Captain Carter in What If. And it's also interesting too, because I know that What If got confirmed for a season 2, but I don't think we really know anything about it. I don't know if What If season 2 is going to be here's 8 standalone episodes that focus on 8 separate multiverses, and then here's 2 episodes that bring those 8 characters together again. Or is season 2 going to continue the stories of the specific universes that we met in season 1? Exactly. So, like, is it going to be completely new multiverses, or is it going to be, like, more Captain Carter, more T'Challa Star-Lord, more Party Bro Thor? However, I think that Season 2 just being completely separate, completely new multiverse stories is what is more likely for What If Season 2. And, yeah. Let's think. Anything else? But, and I guess, and this is pretty minor, all things considered, but, like, because, so I feel like that Marvel fans have been asking for John Krasinski to be Mr. Fantastic for ages, and something that I'm very curious, and he was Mr. Fantastic in Multiverse of Madness, and something that I'm very curious about is, did they literally just hire him for that one cameo? And when we get the actual Fantastic Four MCU movie in a couple of years, it'll be someone else? Or are they actually going to commit to Krasinski being the MCU Fantastic Four? The only thing that's hard about that, though, is that I feel like that realistically, John Krasinski, like, he's not an old man, but he's also not a spring chicken. And because of that, if they, as much as I want to see John Krasinski be the Mr. Fantastic of the MCU, I feel like that if they do hire him, realistically, it's going to be something like, he's Mr. Fantastic in Fantastic Four, then he's Mr. Fantastic in Fantastic Four 2, and then he's in some big team-up movie, and then that's all we get. However, if they do something where, like, they hire an actor that's, like, 25, and therefore, and by the time the first Fantastic Four movie comes out, they're 28. Well, then theoretically we could get, like, Fantastic Four 2, big crossover event, Fantastic Four 3, Fantastic Four 4, another big crossover event, and actually have the Fantastic Four doing shit for, like, 4, 5, 6 movies. And because of that, even though I think that John Krasinski did a good job with the character in this brief role, and I've very much so been in the camp of John Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic, let's go. He is old enough that I don't know if having him actually be, like, 616 Mr. Fantastic would be the best idea or not. I really don't know. But, yeah. And there's also things that where it's like, sometimes, like, because there are things that like, here's something that I missed, and then someone pointed it out to me, and then I felt like an idiot. And that's that the 838 Captain Marvel, initially I was totally just like, okay, so it's Captain Marvel, but this isn't, I'm like, it's Captain Marvel, but she's a black woman now, and it's not Monica Rambeau. So they just had some random black lady be Captain Marvel in 838? That's a little weird. But then I later realized that it was the actress that played the Maria Rambeau. So the idea is that when Carol and Maria were friends, instead of Carol being the pilot, it was her. So like, when I was watching the movie for the first time, I definitely thought that. And also, in addition to that, the Inhumans are weird because, like, long story short, so the MCU Inhumans show is absolute garbage. Like, garbage to the point where I hope that it's not MCU canon and that they, at some point in the future, after Fantastic Four and X-Men, take another crack at the Inhumans. But regardless, my favorite Inhumans characters are Black Bolt, Medusa, and Crystal. And therefore, even though the Inhumans show was bad, seeing Black Bolt with the same actor as the shitty Inhuman show definitely was cool. And even though that Inhuman show was bad, I do think that the best aspect of it was Anton, whatever the hell his last name is, as Black Bolt. And I really, even if we have to wait 10 or 15 years for Fantastic Four and X-Men first, I really would like to see the Inhumans be given another chance. However, it is also hard because it looks like that in the MCU, Kamala Khan is not going to be an Inhuman, and that she's just going to be like, girl who got exposed to some cosmic shit. I mean, we'll see. And also, in addition to that, things have been retconned before, and it's, in general, not that hard to retcon things. So we'll see what happens. And, I just remembered something huge that I should have mentioned ages ago. And that's Clea. So, in Doctor Strange 1, when they introduced Rachel McAdams, Christine, when they introduced Christine, I was like, why are they giving him a human love interest? That's so weird, because in the comics, Doctor Strange's main love interest is, Clea, which is that white-haired chick that was in the post-credit scene of this movie. And she's from the Dark Dimension, and if memory serves, I believe that she is Dormammu's daughter? That sounds right. I think that's right. Lore, there's a lot of it. Sometimes it's hard to keep shit straight. But regardless, and literally in this movie, when Doctor Strange told Christine that, like, I've always loved you, and I've loved you in every universe, but I also understand that the time for us to be together has passed. I literally had the thought of, like, man, even though they're not putting him with Christine, it feels like that they are committing to, like, that's the love of his life. And I interpreted that scene as they're gonna get rid of a love it. I interpreted that scene initially as Doctor Strange isn't gonna have a love interest in the MCU anymore. And therefore, when I saw Clea in the post-credits scene, I popped off because I realized, no, they were actually getting rid of her so that they can give us some dope Clea shit whenever Doctor Strange 3 comes out. Hopefully it doesn't take 6 years for the third movie the way it did for between 1 and 2, but who fucking knows. And, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what role Clea is going to play. And I'm also curious, because obviously her and Dormammu are the most famous villains that hail from the Dark Dimension, but there definitely are others. However, what's in Doctor Strange 1, Dormammu, he wasn't defeated. He was, stopped, because I've come to bargain. And it would make a lot of sense for that to, just be a temporary fix to the Dormammu problem. So I'm very curious if Clea is like, all right, Dormammu is coming back as a more active threat than he was in Doctor Strange 1, and this time we have to actually clap his cheeks somehow. Or if the villain of Doctor Strange 3 is going to be some other antagonist that originates from the Dark Dimension. Regardless, though, I very much so do think that, regardless of which one of those two paths it is, though, I feel like it would be easy to incorporate 616 Mordo into that story and to give his arc either closure or significant continuation. So, that's cool. And I think that I might have actually finally said everything I want to say. And we are very much so at a point now where it's like, alrighty, I hope I hope Ms. Marvel on Disney Plus is good. It probably won't be because most of the Disney Plus shows have sucked ass. And hope Thor Love and Thunder will be good. And it probably will be because most of the MCU movies have been good or better. But only time will tell. And what? I'm pretty sure that because what's funny is that Ms. Marvel is on a Wednesday and Thor is on a Friday. But there's 28 days in... 28 days is 4 weeks, and there's 30 days in a month. So what's funny about that is even though Ms. Marvel is a Wednesday and Thor is a Friday, they are both the 8th. Because June 8th for Ms. Marvel, July 8th for Thor. So hopefully those will both be exciting. I mean, unless Chris Hemsworth dies without having his arc fulfilled, which is something that I don't think will happen, but because of the fact that they're introducing Jane Foster Thor, which is a character that no one cares about, and Marvel has slowly over time become more woke. Like Marvel as a whole is slowly getting more woke, and the shows are getting woke faster than the movies. And that combined with the fact that they're introducing the Jane Foster Thor that no one asked for. Because ever since 2014, people have been begging for Better Ray Bill. And instead they're like, how about Jane Foster as Thor, which no one asked for. And like just the fact that they're doing that makes me feel nervous that in Love and Thunder they're going to kill off Hemsworth Thor without concluding his arc, and then have Portman become the main Thor. It's also true though that like what's funny is that like Natalie Portman looks like she doesn't look old, but you got to remember that like she was Padme in Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, which means that she's been heavily acting for like 20 years. Like episode 1 is like 20 years old. Maybe even a little more. Episode 1 might have been... because in my brain, episode 1 is like 2002, but in reality, episode 1 is probably like 98. Like, episode 1 is probably technically a 90s movie. Like, that sounds weird, but the point is, even though Natalie Portman looks young and hot, she's old. Like, and that's a reason why turning her into the main Thor would feel a little weird, because realistically, like, how many Thor movies would she have in her? Like, I could easily see, but then again, they're turning Anthony Mackie in the Cap, and he's getting kind of... I am getting distracted. This was supposed to be a Doctor Strange video. I'll probably do a discussion video on Love and Thunder when that comes out too, especially considering that my buddy Asir, his favorite hero has always been Thor. Like, he's been a Thor fan because he's a fan of Marvel Thor and actual Norse mythology Thor, and he's been a fan since, even before the MCU started, and he's very opinionated when it comes to Thor. So regardless of whether or not Love and Thunder is fantastic shit or meh, we'll probably be having a significant conversation about it. So, yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.